Entertainment news today. It's such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but MEAD never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
Welcome once again to the program. It is time for your favorite show on the interwebs, whether you like it or not. Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. We got the boss man here. How you doing, Andre?
Hey, I'm doing good. Barely awake, but doing good.
Yeah, you're going to hang out for a little bit here because there's some Marvel stuff that you're going to get into with the boys and myself. We also have Mo Zamboni here. How you doing?
Hey, always a pleasure to be on. Doing great.
Glad to have you. We also have Price of Reason. How you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Good, and we're glad to have you. We also have all 32 flavors of Nick Weiser.
Hello. What's up, Tom? Good to have also Andre around. Hello to Price, Mo, and hello to our chat and our wonderful wrenches. Thank you for swinging your wrenches. We got a bevy of topics to talk about, so let's get the show rolling.
And this episode is brought to you by Nick Weiser Sauce. And Goddess of Whim sending in some love for Clobbering Times. Thank you, Goddess of Whim, for the $2. We appreciate that. Usually FKHC 2005 sends in some early love, but he must be away yet today. Hopefully he'll join us soon. But hello to all of you out in the chat. I see Snortapoopus here. D-Bud swinging around a wrench as usual, so watch your heads. We got Eldritch Lord Haster, Tornadoes, so many regulars here. Tim Hayes, welcome, guys. Tornadoes is here. I think I said that already. Corleone Rogue is here. Welcome, guys. We got even CC Karaoke in the chat, although he's not on the panel. Maybe he's busy working on his music business stuff. If not, he'll join us here soon. Oh, we got Action Com here as well. How you doing, Action Com? And Davina and Lester. And we got John Riker sending in $10. It says, has anybody seen the new Nobody 2 Brother? I think he means the new trailer. Actually, yeah, I was going to ask you guys what you thought of that. Has anybody watched that yet? The new Nobody 2 trailer.
What?
I have as well.
I didn't even know it came out.
It did drop today.
Can I
watched it. Yeah.
Can I please go watch it so I can?
You know what? I'll put it up here for you guys. Let's watch it quick.
Yes.
This is the only one I think we're gonna watch though, because I'm gonna have to edit it out anyway.
I'm excited. Sorry,
I know the rest have been getting everybody copyright claims. Oh, this is Universal. They're definitely gonna claim it. But,
I'm really excited about.
You know what's funny is I didn't hate the first movie. I liked it, but I don't remember it.
Oh,
I hardly remember any of it, which is weird.
Dude, took the daughter's bracelet, man.
That's
Fights a bunch of dudes on the bus. It was awesome.
It was like John
Come to
Wick.
terms with the fact that
Keep
you
in
don't
mind, this
have
is
an
the
average
director for
job.
the upcoming Beekeeper sequel before we go on. So this will be the litmus test to see if this guy can deliver for Jason Statham or not.
I'm the only one who's like losing interest in this quickly.
I'm actually getting more interested by the second
I was
one.
gonna say,
I'm with
Oh,
Andre. I'm
yeah.
getting more.
As soon as the pop song turned into a fucking like slowed down thing, it lost me.
I
Sorry.
am tired.
What was that, Andre?
No, like, yeah, of course, you're right that it's the entire movie is in the trailer. That, of course, is an issue. But it has my interest, and I'm looking forward to seeing this one now. I kind of remember a couple of years back when it's probably a decade ago now almost, when they did like this sequel to the Vacation franchise with
Oh God, don't
kids
remind
that are all
me.
grown up. This should have been that movie. I mean, it even has like that background music from European Vacation.
Right.
Actually, that's the music from the original film that they reused in European Vacation. But yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
still.
yeah. It's
I
Lindsey
associate
Buckingham
with that
from
one, yeah.
Fleetwood Mac. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. But yeah. Anyway, that's the association that I get. I sold me on it. Looks super cool, but they did show too much.
Yeah, I think the trailer gave away too much.
Way too much.
Hopefully, there's more to it than that. But what else did you guys think about it?
It looks
Mo?
like dumb fun, and I'm all for it. I just want some silly escapism. I haven't really seen the whole movie except through like tons of clips, which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Christopher Lloyd's character. We need more of those kind of movies where it's just silly and there's lots of violence. Just something, just like an actual popcorn movie. So I liked it. It looks fun.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you were saying, Tom, that sometimes these trailers give away too much. And in a movie like this, less is more. I remembered it was an action movie. All they needed to do was just show a lot less him kicking some ass, and it would have been like Nobody 2. I didn't need all of this, really.
I'm going to say I absolutely loved this trailer. Now, I do agree that they showed too much, but I'll be that guy that will watch this trailer once and forget about it. In a few months, it'll probably feel like brand new to me. So I won't go dissecting it. So I remember every little thing that happens in it. So that will work to my personal disadvantage. Now, I can see why Tom would not be a fan of the music. I'm not really a fan of it either. But to be fair, most movies in the last 15 years don't really have music that I like anyway. So I can kind of tune that out because the action looks retardedly fun. And if there's anything that can mirror the awesome scene on the bus, this movie could be a treat. And that's what I'm hoping what it is. I'm hoping this is a very basic dad who needs to basically finish a job that he started from a first movie. And I'm actually glad we're getting a sequel. I did mention earlier this is the director who will direct the Beekeeper sequel for Jason Statham. So he starts that now. So my guess is someone must have liked what he's doing on this movie. Like, hey, want to do this movie since Ayer can't do the Beekeeper sequel? So
wait, why can't Ayer do the Beekeeper sequel? He actually, I think that's what he should be doing.
I would like for him to be doing it, but however, it's not really been stated why he isn't doing it. I would like for Ayer to return, but if this guy delivers, I can forgive that. And, assuming that Beekeeper 2 is good as well, Ayer could always come back for the third movie, should there be one. So we'll see. But I'm really amped about this trailer. This will definitely be one I will be seeing right away opening night with enthusiasm. I'm stoked for this.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, carry on.
I was just gonna say, I guess my issue lies in more so like it kind of lost me when it's like, well, of course he goes on vacation in this town that is just a fucking cesspit of fucking criminals, right? Like that to me seems like too easy. To me, I think the funnier, and this is just my personal thing, the funnier sequel would be in he's trying to have a vacation, but every little thing keeps pissing him off to the point where he wishes he could just kick the shit out of people and stuff. And it's like, you have these scenes where he's like dragging some guy off to the side and kicking the shit out of him instead of it being like this elaborate thing. Cause that's kind of what sold me on the first one. But like I said, I barely remember the first one. I know it amps up by the end of the movie. I remember it goes like full on John Wick style. But again, the other side of it, maybe because I don't know how many of you guys watched the Family Plan, because Corleone Rogue's right. Like that's kind of where I got vibes of like, we already got an action, family vacation movie. So That's kind of what I was thinking. But well, Goddess of Whim says, "Oh God, another standalone movie that's going to spawn a franchise. I really miss standalone movies. What's wrong with a one and done?" I'm not going to dump on this one as much because at least it's a more new original franchise. But I see where you're coming from, Goddess of Whim, on that. And thank you again for the $5.
I see her point on that too.
Yeah.
I get the idea because worst comes to worst, there could be some side character, and they decide let's do a spin-off prequel on that side character. Yeah, it seems like there's no end to any franchise. Everything has a continuance. There's not one thing that can just tell its story, be in and out. So I understand her position.
You know what I'm thinking to myself, and I could be wrong. The first movie, I feel like it was more appealing to men. It was a male demographic that it appealed to. It was a classic sort of action movie, and it was done pretty well. I feel like somebody in a boardroom maybe sat there and said, hey, maybe we can like do a promo that kind of gives a little bit of comedy, a little bit of family, a wife who has something to say, maybe trying to kind of casting a wider net, which is why they made this trailer and tried to make it more fun and a bit humorous. And I just hope, I don't really care about the trailer. I just hope that when I see the movie, it's just a fun action movie and well-made action movie. If they can deliver that, I can forgive a trailer that tries too hard, in my opinion, to gather a bunch of demographics.
I didn't get that vibe out of the trailer at all. I just felt like the trailer was just showing you where his family had been and that things were going better until they weren't. That's what I got of it. It didn't feel like they were trying to go for a humoristic approach. It just shows you that that's where they were in the moment. It's not really something that sets the tone for the movie going forward. I think it was just about the moment.
Yeah, they showed a lot, but I think they still have a lot to show because they love doing their environmental kills and their all of the destruction, porn, whatever you want to call it, corn. I think they're not going to have any, especially when they're at a carnival, they're going to have no shortage of any kind of ability to have those scenes. So I think they showed a good amount, and I thought it definitely did what it was supposed to. It got me excited to see it. It looks like dumb fun, which is exactly what they showed in that. The only thing that they're never going to beat is from the original Vacation is Beverly D'Angelo isn't going to have her shirt open for a second. So other than that, I think it'll be a good movie.
What wasn't Christy Brinkley or something in that movie? Who is in
it? Yeah, Christy Brinkley's in the original. And I don't think you want to see Beverly D'Angelo's tits now.
No.
So.
Back then, though, don't sleep on Beverly. I mean, she.
Oh hell no, she had a hell of a rack. Back then. Hell of a rack.
You could do a very nice homage though with someone else.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
Well,
and also,
they already did all that in that remake or reboot, cool or whatever you call it. Though, sorry,
Christy Brinkley is still a rather lovely woman, to be honest with you.
She's still an uptown girl.
You know what? I haven't seen her in a minute, but in recent years I saw like a photo, and I was very surprised that she still looks very good from what I remember in the photo.
Well, okay, so like the other thing is okay, if you're gonna do this, maybe they should do like a Fistful of Dollars, aka Yojimbo type thing, where he goes to this town and there's two warring factions.
Oh.
So then he, you know what I mean, like, and then he kind of pulls the, you know what I mean, like what Eastwood did in that and Yojimbo and then what the character did in Yojimbo, because like playing the two against each other and then just at the end being the victorious one or however you want to look at it. Like, yeah.
I don't think you're gonna pull it off like
Cleaning up the
Kurosawa.
town
It's
at
one
the
of my
same time.
favorite movies of all time.
But you see where I'm coming from?
Oh yeah, it'll be fun.
He goes into this little like lodge town where it's all like it looks like paradise on the outside, but once he gets in there, he realizes that it's all being run by these skeezy fucking gangs, and all the good people are being like a basic Western setup, and that's kind of what I think would work for this. But that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the movie will be great. I hope it is for everybody who's a fan. I mean, I barely remember the first movie. I should revisit it. I just remember liking it, but I don't remember thinking it was anything so much that I've revisited it since. Not like The Beekeeper.
It's good. You'll like it. You'll definitely enjoy it. I remember like watching it and then really enjoying it. So, and I was thinking, wow, I was actually hoping for a sequel to this. I thought there was not going to be one. I thought it was going to be one and done. and it seemed like there was no talk about it for a bit. And I was like, darn. This is
Well, he
basically
had some medical issues.
Oh yeah, you're
They
right.
probably would have made the sequel sooner. I was worried after what happened to him on the set of Better Call Saul that they would never even do the sequel. Surprisingly, they actually did it. He was really, if you remember, there was like 24 hours that he collapsed on the set of Better Call Saul, and there was some real concern over that guy.
Well, he had multiple serious heart attacks. I mean, I believe he was technically dead for a little while there.
I tend to
It was
agree with you.
after that he lost a lot of weight, I think.
I didn't know it was
It
that
like,
serious.
Oh, it was really, really bad. I mean, it was Kevin Smith bad.
Wow. That's insane.
I mean, there was a very good chance that Better Call Saul might never have finished.
True.
Wow.
Well, on that note, let's get into our next story here. The main part of it is we got a new trailer for Spider-Man Noir, starring Nicolas Cage. I spin webs, any size, catching thieves just like flies. Look out! Here I come!
Flies. I could eat flies for hours.
I hope in this movie or show, whatever it is, I think it's a show. I hope that they actually call him the Spider, because as someone who's read the David Hine written Spider-Man Noir series, there's two series. There's the one just called Spider-Man Noir, and there's Spider-Man Noir Eyes Without a Face. David Hine wrote them both. And in the books, they called him the Spider, which for that time period, that was like, I thought that was cool. That fit that timeline. So I hope that that's what they call him for it. So, and as far as multiverse goes, as burnt out as I am, I always had a soft spot for the Noir corner. So I'm hoping that this is good.
As for the name, though, I think there might be a copyright issue in live action, because there's another character called the Spider.
You are right.
Literary character. What I don't know is, and obviously that's kind of like what they went with for in a tribute, because that character is kind of Spider-Man Noir-ish. What I don't know is if that character is public domain, or if there is some kind of party there that's going to be squabbling with you're infringing on our copyright. That I cannot say right away.
No, that's a very good point, Tom. I mean, Andre, because I know exactly what you're talking about with the pulp character titled the Spider. Well, yeah. I know that the show is titled Spider Noir. Maybe as long as they title the show Spider Noir, maybe they can call him the Spider in the show, maybe. But that obviously, I don't know how that all works, because I know sometimes weird stipulations on what can't be used as long as it's not using the title, stuff like that. I'm curious to see how those details work, because I can't imagine somebody, hey, look at that Spider Noir guy. Like, I don't think anyone's going to actually say it, because, you know, he's supposed to be in this time period. They're not supposed to be saying Noir yet. That's a term that we use in retrospect.
Yeah, that would be kind of like weird.
Right? It'd be really awkward. What's up with that Spider Noir guy? It sounds weird.
Yeah, that'd be kind of like other people in Norway referring to me as a Norwegian.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, you're kind of like in that world where everything is noir, so it's kind of like not necessary to point that out, is it?
No, it would be like that scene from Back to the Future. They'd be like, "What's a noir?" You know, like, I've seen this. This is a rerun. What's a rerun?
Oh yeah, great, amazing scene. But yeah, I guess are we gonna watch this preview, or are we gonna skip it? Tom,
no, they've been laying waste to people.
Oh yeah, true. I heard about Gary's BBC earlier. He got hit by Amazon for it. I mean, it was like even though it was like 20 seconds, like insane. I know in the comic they called also the Green Goblin the Goblin. So I'm hoping, like, assuming that there's a Goblin. I know Felicia Hardy had a big part in it as well. I know Aunt May kind of worked for like this like charity group. So I'm curious to see what elements that they'll pick from those stories. So I hope they do. The suit looks great. I'm happy they got the suit right. The suit actually looks fantastic. I'm like shocked how good it looks.
And hopefully the rest is going to be as good as well, because they really have worked on the look here, which is good. That's a very, very good thing. I just hope that this thing is going to stand sufficiently apart from everything else, that much like Borderlands, it's going to be a surprise hit. That is something that both Hollywood, the film industry, streaming platforms, and the comic book movie genre as a whole really could use right now. Something that's a little bit off kilter, not quite like everything else, but good. And from what I understand, this thing is going to come out in both black and white and colored versions.
Whoa.
Has heard anything about that?
I did not hear anything. I only thought it was going to be released in black and white. I mean, no, I and wow, that took me off guard knowing that it would be in color, because when you
I don't know. I just
it
read
fits.
something of it somewhere, and I think that
Okay.
the intention is obviously to see it in black white. But at the same time, I think that the powers that be at Amazon may very well be aware that if we do a colored version of this, more people are going to watch it. That reminds me of something that our good friend Tom Conkle once said for one of his movies, that a noir movie, that he intended to be seen in black and white, but just in dealing with the distributor, he had to actually film it in color and then remove the black and white. So there's two versions of it, of Trouble in the Business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see
because
what you're getting at.
otherwise, like the distributor, they were happy to support a black and white version as well. But there has to be a colored version for audiences who are fickle and don't want black and white.
I thought that the black and white, it didn't look like they just put a filter over this. It looked like they did, well, for lack of a better term, looks like they did color grading. Looks like they actually made it try to look like actual black and white film. I love the shots. I wish we could show the trailer, but the shot of the lady on stage singing, the shot of what I think is the goblin, the alley shot, the circa 1940s old school Batman action sequences. I thought the whole thing looked great. It's a breath of fresh air to see something so creative and preliminarily well done. I think it looks pretty good. I'm kind of excited to just, if nothing else, experience the cinematography and see what it's like. It's definitely got my eye.
Also, we know with Nicolas Cage, whether it ends up being good or not, we know Nicolas Cage always gives it 110. He turns it to 11. So we know no matter what, he's going to Spinal Tap this damn show. And for that alone, I'm looking forward to seeing him Spinal Tap, because I'm trying to imagine Spider-Man having a Cage freak out. And really, that's hard for me to imagine. But now that we know we got Cage in it, it's like, okay, we need to see this now. So if there's not one Cage freak out, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. It would be kind of like a disappointment if we don't have at least one Cage freak out, even if it's kind of odd for Spider-Man, but for Cage, come on.
Well, if he doesn't, why would they have Cage?
Point taken. Point absolutely
Well,
taken.
because it's a spin-off of the Spider-Verse thing, which he was in and did the voice for. That's why.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. Well, yeah.
But Andre, you might want to take a moment to explain why this has to be live action and not animated.
Oh, there's a legalness to this?
Well, you have to remind me first, because
Sony can't make an animated TV show. Disney owns the rights to those.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so that's why every Spider-Man animated TV show we've had in the last 30 years has been Marvel ran and not by Sony.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That explains all those Spider-Man shows, whether it's the Ultimate one, the Disney Plus one. Obviously, then you had the cel-shaded one from MTV. Then you had Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah, none of them have been from Sony.
Do you think that they knew? Were they confused at the beginning? Did they want to make an animated and then?
I think they were, because there was a half a second where this was supposed to be an animated series, and they were also announced a Spider-Gwen series that just fizzled.
Right.
That was supposed to be a
Whatever happened
spin-off
with
of
that?
it. I think it just didn't happen because the both of these were meant to be animated. They went live action with this, and people forget Nicolas Cage wasn't even a part of this until later in the game, even though it was still a spin-off, because he was initially just supposed to do a voice, and then when he wasn't going to be a voice anymore, they had a live action actor playing him, and I don't know how much he's actually going to be in the costume, to be honest with you. So they probably just paid him to come in and do the voice over the costume work like they did with Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal.
Right.
And then have him shoot a couple of shots here and there where it's without the mask. And that's how they probably got around paying him a buttload of money. That's my memory of how things went. Because if I remember, unless somebody correct me and I'm wrong in the chat, he was not initially a part of this show, even though it was a spinoff of his character.
I think you're right, Tom. And assuming that that's the case, I actually kind of see that as a positive. And the
because
reason
then they
why,
switched it from because they switched it from animated to live action. Yeah.
yes, that's one of the things. My other reason is that means we don't have to worry about Spider-Man taking off his mask every 5 seconds. Just to show,
if at all, it makes me. I don't remember. Did we see him out of the mask at all of the
They
trailers?
showed it
Yeah.
in a shot. They
Just once?
showed his
Okay.
face. Yeah. If that's a sacrifice we have to make, so we don't have to see the celebrity's face every 5 seconds, I'm fine with that. I don't know why this isn't a standard for these characters. Especially, it's like, oh, I'm talking now. I have to show my face again. So please, if that's the trade-off we gotta have, I'm good with that. For me, Spider-Man should have his mask on when he's fighting, when he's talking. Obviously, if he's attending, like, let's just say Aunt May, of course we gotta see him normal, fine. I get that. But as far
this
as
isn't
when he's
even
out
Peter
being
Parker here,
Spider-Man-
right? So
Well, it was Peter Parker in the books. They haven't said.
yeah, but
they
it's not
changed
here
his
because
name
in
or
the
not.
even in the Spider-Verse movie, he's the same character because he's not Peter Parker in that either, is he?
He is a Noir. He is. It's Peter Parker.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah, it is. A lot of the names of the residential people of Queens, New York still have their names. Just some of the hero and villain names are altered versions of what we know. Kind of more of like
Okay.
the names that kind of suit their times. Like instead of the Green Goblin, they called him the Goblin. Spider-Man was the Spider. So you had more so stuff like that. And some of the alterations that they did for the characters, they're all like villains that suited the timeline and the way they would have, let's just say, made potions and devices, technology suited for that timeline. So the way they've done it is actually really well thought out. If anyone in the chat's a gamer, there was a good depiction of Spider-Man Noir in the video game Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. And there's a few levels where you had to play as Spidey Noir. And they're really good. They're actually some of my favorite levels in the game. I think it was PS2 or 3 when that came out. But really good game. If you guys don't got it, go check it out.
I think
Was it
that
PS2?
two.
Either way,
I
it was a
think
good
so.
game. I love
I'll have
that.
to
That's
check
one
that
of my
out.
favorite Spider-Man games there. Yeah, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. I had so much fun with that game. Even though it didn't have the most amount of levels, it was about what you got to experience as Spider-Man because you had the regular Peter Parker, then you had 2099, Noir, and then Symbiote. It's perfect.
No, it may have been in the PlayStation 3. I have that game, and it's one of the games that I have that I've never even taken out of its wrapping.
Ooh, I think you gotta change that now, Andre. It'll be quick too. It's not like a long game. It's got a cool story, and it doesn't get really overly crazy with its multiverse complex. It sticks with Spider-Man. You do get a fight against Deadpool as well, which is actually a good fight. It's actually one of the more challenging fights, and it's a very straightforward game. So if you get time to unveil out of its shrink wrap, play because it's not like a really deeply time-consuming game. That's probably the only criticism I'd have towards it. It was short, but man, is the gameplay fun, and ultimately that's what matters is fun gameplay.
Yeah, and if it's PS3, the way that if you're down with emulation and stuff, those games upscale and look amazing. If you're down with that, I'm kind of nerdy in that respect. There's a lot of PS3 games that could rival games nowadays when they're upscaled. So I never really played that game, but if you're gonna play Spider-Man Noir in there, I'm all for it. I'm gonna give that a try.
Yeah, I still like the original modern day Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 1. But hey, that's me.
Oh, the one from 2000 where
Yeah, that's
you
the
got
one.
with a spider with a Doc Ock Carnage infusion at the end.
The one that set the template for all other Spider-Man games to
Yes,
come.
I know
Yes,
exactly what you're talking about. That they actually had some of the
the
voice
Activision
actors
one.
from the animated series do that one. That was when Activision was a more competent company, and they were actually trying to make the best Spider-Man game that they could make at that time with the PS1 graphics. It was cool because that game introduced you to Daredevil, Black Cat, the Punisher, Captain America, and yet you just got to play Spider-Man the entire time. What a joy!
And you got all the costumes and everything. You even had like
Yup.
the option of playing him in the Fantastic Four
The
costume.
Amazing
Right, what you
Bagman.
said. Yeah, exactly. That was
Oh
brilliant.
yeah, the Amazing Bagman.
I
I love
Cthulhu
that.
brings up a point here for $5. Says no one speaks like they are from the 40s. See, in the trailer, and the 3D looks like 2D animated PNGs. Looks like Sin City without the style. Not interested. See. See,
I
I
mean,
like my 1940s speak there.
yeah, I get what you're saying. You know, it's 20 seconds. I mean, could he be right ultimately? Yeah. Is it something that will weigh down the show for me? No. But is it a legitimate criticism? Yes.
ActionCom brings up another point. Do you think we'll get more radical in superhero movies like Batman and Victoria Times, live action Gotham by Gaslight? If this is very popular, possibly.
Yeah, that's the
But I
big
don't
part
know.
about it is that there has to be a strong market because there's a reason why Warner Bros. Likes to rip off The Dark Knight Returns 100,000 times because it's popular. There's a reason why they constantly use the Joker
Or
because
remake
he's
Watchmen over and
popular.
over.
Yeah, there's a reason why they remake Watchmen because they see that stuff as song. That's why they now want Daredevil to continue to be born again and again because it's a popular
Perfect
storyline.
segue, actually. Right there. Here you go.
Good smooth transition, Tom.
So, Andre, why don't you take us through this here? The links in the back here. Christian Ritter is coming back to play Jessica Jones. There's a bit of a what do you call it? Not a kink, but a when you make a deal with somebody and there's a catch. There's a catch in it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. The catch is that it's going to be in Born Again season 2, not her own show.
Yeah. Well, I do believe that that the fans of Jessica Jones will take it. They just probably won't watch it because that's exactly what happened with Daredevil Born Again season 1. It's really struggling with the ratings. And if people aren't coming back for Daredevil or for the Kingpin or for the Punisher, I don't see how Kristen Ritter coming back as Jessica Jones is going to change matters. Because a lot of people liked Jessica Jones season 1, myself included. But from everything I've seen, a lot of people fell off after season 1. So I don't know how big a draw this is. I mean, it's cool and all, and I'm sure that this is intended to set up some more Jessica Jones appearances down the line here. But will they actually happen in when you take the really tepid viewership that Daredevil Born Again season 1 is getting into account? I'm not so sure. But Price or Reason, what do you think?
Well, I think that the first season, from what I recall, was actually pretty good. And what happened is in the second season, I don't know if maybe during that time it started becoming more fashionable, these kind of Me Too or whatever was going on. Something happened in the second season. I struggle to remember if there was a third season. I believe I've watched everything that show had. I can't even remember it was 2 or 3 seasons, but I watched it for some reason. But it did really go downhill. And I think really the first season is the one that had merit. I do like the actress. I do like the character. And if, like you said, Andre, if Daredevil Born Again was a better series, the first season, maybe people would be hyped for the second one. Unfortunately, that first one was rather disappointing. I'm one of the people that didn't hate Daredevil Born Again, but even I acknowledge that it was significantly less than the Netflix series. meaning
Very much so. Yeah.
it was watchable considering that it's like a Disney Plus show. If I compared it to all of their other crap, it was somewhat watchable, but I wouldn't say that it was fantastic. And I think that Jessica Jones, like you said, Andre, adding her now, I don't really know that it's going to move the needle one way or another. The brand is suffering, and they've hurt Daredevil, these characters, and the Kingpin, and I don't know how much good this is going to do them.
Yeah, that's the issue right there, and I think it's a pretty big issue, to be completely honest, as well, that they're announcing this, and I fear on their behalf that this announcement is going to fall completely flat on its face, because this comes now just on the heels of the trailer for Ironheart, which is going to make them a laughing stock, and on the just before the trailer for the new Superman, and this is where they drop this. I mean, why wouldn't they drop this closer to the release of Daredevil Born Again Season 2? What's the point of dropping this right now? That's a
I
question.
believe if I had to think what they were trying to do is their hope probably now is if there's any kind of incentive, maybe some ladies, they're thinking there's some demographic that likes Jessica Jones. If she's coming to Daredevil Born Again Season 2, maybe this will cause people to go to Disney Plus and watch Daredevil Born Again Season 1, thinking that it'll lead into her arriving. They're trying to keep Daredevil Born Again in the headlines because I believe they've invested, after all the reshoots, they invested a lot of money in it, but they didn't get the type of viewership they wanted. So they're just sort of keeping it alive with this additional announcement. Maybe also, like you guys said, with this embarrassing Ironheart show that I think they should have Batgirled. I think they should have Batgirled that Ironheart show. But the fact that they didn't, maybe they're throwing in something else to be talked about, because that Ironheart thing is going to be a disaster for them.
I like the first season of Jessica Jones. That's the only season I've watched. I like the actress, and I like her dynamic with Charlie Cox. So this announcement actually theoretically would make me more interested. But the problem is I have to actually catch up and be bothered to watch everything. Like you said, Price, do I want to go and watch the first season of Born Again? Do I need to watch the second and third season of Jessica Jones? I don't know. So I mean, it's not going to necessarily like make the difference for me, but at the same time, I don't see it as a negative thing unless they shit the bed with it. They bring her in. It depends how they use her, right? If it's good writing and it's good dynamic and she's, she brings energy to the show, I'm for it, right? But
Yeah, that's the risk, that this could be like another more homework move, because most people have seen season 1 of Jessica Jones. Not a lot of people saw seasons 2 and 3. If they're going to make it so you really have to have seen all 3 seasons, then they suddenly went into the Disney Plus trap all over again.
I think they want to test the market to see, okay, not only could Jessica Jones bring in viewers to watch the show, which no disrespect to Kristen Ritter, I thought she was excellent in the first season. I don't think she will. And let's just pretend that she did. Could there be a potential to revive her for a show again? That could be something that they're using as a testing waters, because she was one of the shows that went 3 seasons. Now, we were mentioning how there was that big quality drop in season 1 and 2. There's also the change in the way the show operated, because the show got super into the message in 2018. So that was 3 years between 2015 and 18. 2015 was basically like a more drawn out version of the original Bendis Gatos arc. There's a lot of moments that are directly lifted from that arc. I'm assuming, Andre, your Marvel nuts. You may have at least remembered when that book was just called Alias. Do you remember that story?
Yes.
A good story. It's
From
when
Brian
Bendis
Michael
was
Bendis,
actually a competent writer.
Yeah.
And so you had a more drawn out version of that. But that's also kind of like to Jessica Jones's detriment. Like outside of that one story, there's not many other stories that she works well as a headlining character. And Bendis has tried, other writers have tried, good writers have tried. And, you'll get some fine stories, but nothing that really is like, oh, wow, this story is the one for her. So I feel like her character works best as an ensemble character after that. If anything, Jessica Jones season 1 should have just been considered a really solid limited series. But of course, they wanted to, cash the cow. I don't think this is going to work. The damage is too little too late. And like Price of Reason, I don't hate Born Again. There's things about it I liked, but there's obviously some stuff in there that was some of the worst things I've ever seen in any Marvel show ever. And they haven't let go of the message. I can't imagine a scenario where they do nothing with Jessica Jones that involves such.
That is a risk, absolutely. Any
I mean,
others? Yeah, carry on.
well, I was just when you were talking about that, I was reminding me I was watching Shameless a few months ago, and that's perfect. I think that's an example of a show that started in 2012, and by the end of its run, it went super into the message, right? But in the first season, the main character's ex-wife has a psycho ex-girlfriend. She drives up in a truck in like the 7th or 8th episode of the season, and plastered on the front of the truck, this is in 2012, is the pride flag. And they lean into how she's part of this movement. And they paint her as a villain and just kind of like over the top crazy cultish. And one thing I liked about where that show started is that it struck a balance, right? Like it did have, it had a gay relationship. I don't care. But it struck a very nice centrist balance. And it didn't mind, like leaning into the fact that this woman was kind of crazy. But by the 10th or 11th season, once you're into 2018, 2019, 2020, and so on, it went completely off the deep end and it became part of the cult, right? So I'm just saying you take a great actor and a great actress and a great setup. If you write it well, you strike a good balance with that. I'm still willing to believe it can be a great show, right? But they can't. They just they got to simplify. I think you were saying that earlier, Andre. Is like I don't want to watch 10 seasons of homework. I don't mind if I gain a little bit of insight, right? If I get a little bit more out of it because I did watch all the things. But the right balance is when you're not going to be lost on it and it's not really necessary. It becomes its own contained item, like with a start, a middle, and a finish. And if there's a couple of little, things in there, a couple of little moments in a scene where it's like, oh, I get that because I saw that. That's great. But that's all it needs to be.
The continuity stuff, CC, I'll make this quick. The continuity stuff should be an enhancement, like a reward for those who have stuck around. But it shouldn't feel like required homework, because then that's where you lose people, where you make them feel like, oh, great, now I'm forced to watch this. And it should feel like, oh, wow, this is great. I wonder what that little thing was about. I should ask so-and-so. Oh, well, you'll have to watch this to understand it. Oh, okay, well, I enjoyed this. Now I want to watch this. That should feel like, a little like extra incentive, but shouldn't feel like mandatory obligational homework. I mean, none of us liked obligational homework when we were kids. So why would we want to apply that with TV?
Well, there was a different thing if the homework was enjoyable in any way. But with Marvel, I think that people are starting to shudder because the homework isn't enjoyable. Now, I actually haven't seen season 3 of Jessica Jones, so I can't really comment on how enjoyable that is.
It's not.
But just the idea of it at this point, I mean, you really have to limit the amount of homework that you're giving here, because Marvel have done way too much of it. We also got a couple of super chats here. Deeple101 says for $5, how much of it is it that DDBA/Andor are just signs of the time, showing that people don't equate Disney, or at least not Disney Plus, with good stories slash shows slash movies?
What's DDBA?
Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, Daredevil. Okay, good question. Okay, how much of it is that Okay. That's a good question. I mean, the Disney brand itself is quite poisoned. I believe
Marvel.
that.
Marvel.
Marvel is. I consider that part of. I mean, just Disney as a whole. I'm talking Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, if it's under the Disney banner right now, it's in trouble if its name's not Stitch. That's the way I see it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and right now, like, I mean, we were talking a little bit about this before the show. Like, Ironheart is coming out before Fantastic Four. This thing is going to be a disaster. Nobody's going to watch it.
Oh,
I
I'm
think
going
the
to
only-
watch it. I'm going to watch
I
it. I'm
mean,
looking forward to Ironheart. I
You
really want to
will,
see
and
that show.
YouTubers will, and some people will hate watch it, but I have a feeling it's going to have very few actual fans, let's say.
Are they going to dump it all in one day? They have to, right?
I have no idea. I think so. And I mean, as far as the Thunderbolts goes, the only reason I think that had an uptick was because of all of the YouTubers giving it semi-decent reviews. But I think a lot of people were running with, oh, it's a good movie, instead of realizing what Andre said, and that it's the best of the worst Marvel films, meaning like,
I had a similar review, by the way. I agree with
Yeah.
both of you, what you guys said. If you compared the Thunderbolts to some of these kind of Eternals and, I don't know, I'm trying to think, the Marvels,
Shang-Chi.
Captain Falcon. If you compare to some of those, Thunderbolts looked like a much better movie. But if you compared them to like Iron Man 1 and Avengers, they're considered like the bottom of the barrel, meaning maybe the only movies I said in my review that they were better from the earlier phases of like pre-Endgame, it was probably better than Captain Marvel, and it was probably better than Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's probably the movies that it was better than them. Aside from that, it's like bottom of the barrel MCU, but watchable.
Yeah. You see, and this is kind of like what I'm saying as well. I find that most people are, even if they're using different words, they're saying the same thing as me, which is basically, of all of the worst MCU movies, meaning we are strictly talking about bad movies here, not good ones, but of the bad MCU movies, this is the least bad, i.e., it's the best of the worst.
Right, I agree with you. I thought that was a very good term. I in my review just categorized it as something of a mid-level mediocre Marvel movie, but saying that it's the best of the worst is fair enough as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And by the way, hello, CC Karaoke, who snuck in here under the radar as we were live.
Yeah, hey.
How you doing? So yeah, we got one more thing before Andre has to leave us. Kalikioki asked for $2. Thoughts on new MOTU leaks of Tila? I'm sure you've seen these, Andre.
I have.
My God, it's like they tried really hard to make it look worse than the one from the 80s. That's my thoughts.
I have to say that I'm reasonably pleasant surprised. Now, it's not my preferred look. It's not like, wow, that's as good as it possibly could have been. No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that considering the alternate directions that they could have gone, this ain't that bad. And of course, I would have preferred if they had gone with a real Ginger instead of hiring a Latina and awkwardly coloring her hair ginger. But it's not even ginger. I mean, that's like one of the danger colors that you find in university campuses. But I think it might not look all that bad on screen. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, the woman is really buff. She's well built.
You're
but
being
not
way
quite
too
perfectly
fucking
muscular.
nice, dude.
Yeah, probably I am. But again, that's because my expectations were so tremendously lowered.
Man.
She looks okay. It was just pleasing to the eye enough.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the costume. This is like some cheap ass bullshit. What the fuck, Andre? This is what Tila should fucking look like. Right here. Right here.
Yeah.
How hard is that when a cosplayer can get it fucking right?
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that.
This is
looks
exactly
better.
what it should look like.
All,
Look at this.
all
This
I'm
chick
saying-
got it 100%.
Yep, that's Tila right there. All I'm saying is that
Sorry.
compared to what I was expecting worse.
I get what you're saying, but this looks like some cheap shit that Amazon would put together. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
fucking
kind of what it
streaming
is.
movie now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not getting a theatrical release at all, is it? Or if it is, it's
I
going to
don't
be
know.
very
It might
limited.
be.
Probably it's going to yeah, actually it's probably is going to go to theaters because it's Amazon. I mean, it's the same thing as Beekeeper and Red One and those other things, and even A Working Man. All of these things are like Amazon movies that got limited theatrical releases. So I'm sure it's going to be getting a limited theatrical release.
This looks like something from Star Wars. Like this looks like something you'd be wearing in Star Wars.
It
looks
does look
like
a little generic sci-fi, yeah. But sorry, carry on.
it looks like it comes with like a plastic mask that you can't breathe through. With that, it really does look like your Optimus Prime Lion-O stuff you'd have in the 80s. It looks like it's all made out of PVC or something. It does look a little chintzy, I have to say.
Why couldn't they do this better? I mean, why aren't they taking this movie seriously?
Well,
I don't know.
well, we don't know that they're not. It could be that they're just having like a really weird take for some reason, which is a leftover of previous things. I'm just going to draw like one parallel here, which is me applying the absolute best will that I possibly can. And that is the 1996 movie, The Phantom, starring Billy Zane. Now,
Good
in the
movie.
script writing stage, that movie was actually written kind of as a parody. It was written by people that knew the Phantom, but they weren't taking it seriously. They were writing it almost as a satire. Like the whole thing was kind of like a joke. And then it was the director of that movie that had a script for a satire, but he took the material very seriously. Like he treated it as a fan would treat it. So he had a script that had been developed for years that predated him and everything like that. But what he did was that in the adaptation, in his direction, he tried to make this cheesy script as serious as he possibly could, given some obvious limitations. Like for instance, Gone was the more comedic Phantom in what's his face, Ash from Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell was the initial choice to play the Phantom and to do it a little bit more comedic. Whereas this guy, the director, he found Billy Zane, who also took it seriously. Maybe something like that is going on here, because the one reason to have faith in this is the director. It's the director of Kubo and the Two Strings. It's the director of Bumblebee, best Transformers movie ever made. And he's working off a script that, while it has been rewritten, is still the same basic script that Sony were butchering for 5 years here.
Was that the David S. Goyer script?
No,
Or is
it
that
was the Nee Brothers script.
Nee
But
Brothers
we
script,
we
okay,
don't
yeah.
know
how much of that was changed
that-
from that, though? Yeah.
Exactly. We do not know the exact lineage of the Nee Brothers script. We don't know if they started completely from scratch or if they took something from Goyer.
Yeah, because he was attached to it for a long ass time.
He was, yeah.
And I mean, look, I'll give the 80s version a pass because none of those costumes looked like they did in the movie, and they were redesigned by what's his face, the artist.
Yeah, not Moebius, but the other one.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember now too, because we've done the video on this, for Christ's
Yeah,
sake.
we have. Yeah, but
Yeah,
in
and he
much-
actually owned those rights to those designs, and that was where there was for years it took us to get toys to him. But like, to me, that's kind of what it looks like, is they're almost trying to invoke the older costume, and it's like, no, why? Like, I don't get that. I don't know. I mean, look, if that was the least of this movie's problems, I wouldn't have issues. But I mean, Andre, we've been talking about this for a little while now. The problem with this is the story.
Yeah.
Is they keep going back to this, tying He-Man to Earth, bringing him to Earth. He's on Earth sometime. And this story, if it's the same one, sounds a hell of a lot more like it's a Flash Gordon style movie than it does a fucking He-Man movie. Now, I will give credit that in these shots, you can definitely tell, at least now it looks like it's actual metal here, at least there anyway, and it's got some metal there and a little sheen to the fabric compared to the other one. But still, why?
Yeah.
And that looks
Well,
actually
the
looks like
thing with-
Lizard.
Yeah, the thing to keep in mind, though, is that many things on set look pretty cheap and garbage, only
I
to
get
look
it.
amazing on screen. So I'm not gonna be too judgmental of that just yet, because I've seen so many examples of looking shit on set looks amazing on screen. Of course, if it
wasn't
does end up looking shit on screen as well, then we have a different problem. But we're not there yet.
wasn't He-Man's mother human, from what I remember?
In
Correct.
the Filmation series, yes. Did they carry that over into the 2000 series? I don't remember if they did.
They
I
were
don't think
going
they did.
to.
I was
It
going to say, yeah.
it was canceled before they got that far, but
I'm glad they
were
never
going-
did. To be honest, I've never been a fan of that. I've never liked that aspect. I thought it was just kind of stupid.
It was strange, but as a kid, that's the lore that I know. So the fact
Yeah.
that his mom is human, it mattered to me growing up because that's what I understood the lore was. I don't mind if he returns to Earth if they're trying to still tie.
Oh no,
into
he doesn't
that type of
return to Earth.
lore.
He's on Earth in the beginning, and he doesn't come to Eternia till the last quarter of the movie.
basically
Whatever.
raised on Earth. Like he comes
Yeah.
to Eternia as a child, kind of like what happened to Adora in Secret of the Sword, how she was like
Yeah.
kidnapped to Etheria.
Kidnapped
We
by
don't
the
know
Horde, yeah.
Anyway, he's
Yeah.
trapped. He goes to Earth, at least in earlier versions of the script. Again, we don't know how much has been changed, but in the previous version of the script, he went to Earth as a child, some portal closed or something, and he was trapped there. And then it's many years later, as an adult, that he is then brought back to Eternia. But by then, he's a naturalized Earthling who doesn't even remember Eternia, considers it all like some wacky dream.
By
Yeah,
the way,
which is funny because that almost was the same story for the sequel that we never got, that basically turned into Captain America from Albert Pyun.
Yeah.
With, I don't know if you guys, if you watched our video, we kind of cover a little bit of that, but the quick version is, yeah, that's basically what the plot was going to be. If you watch the Captain America movie, the Masters of the Universe sequel was going to be He-Man on Earth with amnesia, forgot who he was. Skeletor's been on Earth all this time too, but he's concealed himself as a senator or something like that by wearing like makeup like the Red Skull does in Captain America, basically. Yeah,
Oh.
and yeah.
I really like the secret, the secret of the sword or whatever that was.
Well, that's the problem is that Shira has the infinitely more interesting backstory.
I love
but they're
that
two separate
backstory.
characters now, unfortunately.
The fact that she was hidden and she worked for Hordak, not knowing that she's basically one of the bad guys, and then He-Man manages to awaken her from that. I always really like that. I think that that's a well done story. I wish they did that and not the weird crap that Netflix did with Shira, that she loves other women or whatever it is. They turned it into some other platform. But
It was
initially,
actually Universal that did that. It was on Netflix, but it was Universal that did it.
Yeah, through
well,
DreamWorks,
shame on
yeah.
them, because I think that Shira and He-Man, they could have done something really cool. And honestly, since Secret of the Sword or whatever it is, I don't know that they've done something that great that's like an event. I actually really
Which
like
is sad
that.
because that's like the first 5 episodes of She-Ra is all it is.
You know what? it was the first 5 episodes of Shira for you, but let me tell you a secret. I actually sat in a movie theater and watched that as a movie when it came out, and for me it was a movie. Later, I sat
So
at
did
home.
I.
Yeah, so for me, I still remember that as like a movie event, and you know what? As a kid, it spoke to me. I liked the whole idea.
Oh, I loved it.
I like that there was the brother and sister. I like that they were both doing the double transformation. Double transformation. I absolutely loved it. And I feel like all these movies, everything they've done since that has only been less than that. I don't think they've ever reached that height again.
Let me tell you something. As a kid, I hated repeats. There was nothing that would ruin my day more when I was looking forward to a show and I would get stuck with a fucking repeat when I've seen already.
The struggles.
100%. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I went and saw that in the theater and it was awesome. I agree with you 100% Price. And then 3 months later, when all of a sudden She-Ra started right after He-Man and it's the same shit I just saw in the theater, I'm like, I got ripped the fuck off. And I've already seen this shit. So I spent a week of She-Ra of episodes I'd already seen.
You know what? I
It was
went
the
through
new
this
big premiere. So that kind of bummed me out as a kid. I'm like, well, this sucks. I already seen this crap.
I actually agree with you because I went through a similar process. I wasn't as upset. I just kind of knew that I'd already seen it. So you're right. I'm like, why am I now seeing it? This was supposed to be a movie. Why are they showing it as episodes? So I did ask the same questions. But, after like 4 or 5 episodes, they started with the Shira series.
Yeah, then it
And
got
I
better.
watched every episode of
picked up.
He-Man, every episode of Shira. I know over the years, there's some people that are like, oh, Shira ruined the brand because there was a woman. But you know what? I don't know what to tell you. When those shows were on,
complicated.
It's complicated because I like both characters, and if they had shows on like back to back or whatever it is, I'd watch them both. I wasn't sitting around thinking, "Oh, why did they introduce a woman?" Oddly, that's more characteristic of me to say that today. But as a
Well,
kid,
it wasn't the cartoon that killed it. It was
Right.
the toys, as we
Maybe
bring
it
up
was
in our
the
video,
toys.
because it was the no, it absolutely was the toys.
maybe.
And in fact, it created a huge division in Mattel to the point where some people quit. And funny enough, a few of those individuals who quit, guess where they went to? Playmates, and worked on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Also a
So they
great
went,
show.
yeah. So they went from the biggest boy's toy to the next biggest boy's toy. But anyway, what happened is the girls department got pissed because He-Man outsold Barbie for the first time ever. A toy outsold Barbie. And as soon as they got wind that they were going to be doing a female He-Man, they lost their shit and insisted on being the ones in charge of it. And what they did was made She-Ra incompatible with the Masters of the Universe figures. Basically making She-Ra a girl's toy. And as soon as boys had their sister wanting to play Masters of the Universe with their girls' toys, they're like, fuck that. Because they weren't even compatible at all. Bo doesn't look anything like He-Man. He looks like him in the cartoon, right? They're the same size, same height, same build, all that shit. Not on the toy.
No,
Bo is like a third of the size of He-Man.
No. Basically, he's a Ken doll.
A smaller Ken doll, basically. Yeah, that's what they turned She-Ra into, was a smaller Barbie doll.
Yeah.
She's somewhat close to what Tila's design was, because I believe she and the other girls were probably already so far down the line in design. But when they got involved, they changed everything, and that was all about the horses and the combing of the hair and the changing of the clothes and the accessories and all that shit. And then they just stole the evil horde from the Masters of the Universe because they didn't have villains.
I don't know. In any case, I like those shows. Personally.
No, I know. The show turned out great. It was the toys that destroyed everything. Because
And you know what? Until today, I
fucked
think
everything
that I really like the design of She-Ra of the animated version. I liked how she looked. They made her, as opposed to that pathetic thing that Universal had put on Netflix that you said that it was Universal. I thought that She-Ra looked fantastic in the 80s cartoon. That's how I imagine She-Ra should look. Whatever that Netflix thing was, it was an embarrassment, honestly.
Well, there's another thing right there that shows you, like, look at the design of the She-Ra toy compared to what she looked like in the show. Almost two completely different characters. Like, this is the original She-Ra toy. Now the newer toys look closer like she did in the Filmation show.
Oh,
But-
this really doesn't look very good. But in the
No.
show, I thought she looked great. And I thought, I'm trying to remember the actress that does her voice in the 80s show. Really great voice work.
Actually, wasn't it, what's his face's daughter? Lou
Yeah,
Scheimer's daughter?
Linda Gary or Linda Gray or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
Linda Gray or whoever
Yes.
it was.
Was it but it wasn't the same Linda Gray that was on Dallas, right? It was Linda
No,
Gray.
no.
It must have been a
Different one,
different
yeah.
one. She-Ra.
Yeah, because most of the female voices were all done by almost the same. Like, there's only like 2 or 3 people, and then the same thing with the male voices. They're all like almost the same, 3 or 4 guys between Lou Scheimer and Oppenheimer and the guy who did He-Man. I just forgot his voice. Just sadly passed away not that long ago too. Crap. Shit. What is it? Somebody in the chat.
Langella?
No. The original voice of He-Man, Cam.
Oh, yes.
Not Cam. That was the
that was the
2000
Reed
series.
2001, the other one, the original one. Anyway, yeah, those guys.
John
those guys-
Irwin. John Irwin.
Yeah,
Irwin,
John
yeah.
Irwin. Yeah, basically they all did all the voices on the show. Like,
Right.
there's very few voices. But anyhow, that being said, actually that was pretty much all we had for stories. We got a couple super chats here. I don't know if you want to stick around for those, Andre. We're almost done. You want to just hang out for a few more minutes because then we're going to drop a video. on the main channel.
Yeah, we are.
Ooh.
Klekioki sends it to and says, you were either going to get red hair or skirt, not both. Instead, we got a Hispanic with red hair and no skirt.
Kalechioki is a wise man, and he is entirely right. And I'll take the red hair. Thank you.
But we still got neither because she's not a natural redhead.
Well, at least they're trying.
I'm so sick of them not casting real redheads.
Yeah, I agree. But,
anyway, Corbin Dallas has been a member for 2 months and says, hail to the panel. Iron Fart is literal example of what's wrong with Marvel. Don't worry, though. I hear Marvel is turning the corner any day now. And funny you mention that, because that is a point that Andre gets into in his video that we're about to drop here.
I do. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that. So I'm going to let Andre do his exit so he can get that ready as we do our exits here. So Andre, go ahead and start us off, and then you can take off and go set that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this video is pretty ready to be dropped, and it's about Ironheart, and the trailer is dropping tomorrow. But today, already today, they put up a brand new behind the scenes segment, which is up on YouTube right now. And I thought it was very interesting because this segment appears to almost be making excuses for the show. That's some advertising, don't you think? When the behind the scenes thing seems to be all about justifying and excusing the show. So you can go and check out that video as soon as this stream is done on the link that's in the chat right now.
All right. So with that, Andre will get that going. And then Neek Weiser, you're going to be talking. Should do it like this. You're going to be talking. So come pow. Enter the fist.
Now we will see who's the best.
God, I haven't seen that in so long.
My name is Betty.
But is it a woman's name? No, anyways, yes. Toxic Tuesday coming up in an hour. And we'll be talking Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. I think this is a perfect follow-up considering last week we not only talked about Grandma's Boy, but we had the star of Grandma's Boy show up as a surprise for the chat for the loyal viewers. So I felt like Kung Pao was so stupid it's funny that it needs to be talked about. So please come hang out with us. It's going to be a huge time. Thanks for having me, Tom. And good to also have the boss around, Andre. Always good to have you added to the discussion.
Well,
if he wasn't here, I wouldn't have been able to get the video done that we're about to drop. So yes, appreciated. And then we got Zakainen. Did I say that right? Zakainen. He's been a member for 2 months. I missed you becoming a member. I would have remembered that name. That's for sure. Zakainen. Please spell it out phonetically so I don't muck it up anymore. That'd be great. But thank you for becoming a member and being here for 2 months. Kalekioki also says all this shit Marvel is releasing harms Doomsday. You're absolutely 100% correct.
100%, yeah.
Yes, and it also hurts DC and everything else around it too.
It hurt Superman.
Fortunately for MCU, yeah, they're talking Superman because that's getting all the attention right now. But that just makes me wonder how big of a bomb everything else is going to be around it. But yeah, that being said, Price, what do you got going on?
Well, tonight at 11:45 p.m. we have the Night Owl, and that's with Professor R2, 11:45 p.m. Eastern. So you guys should check that out. That's on my live stream channel, Price of Reason Live.
All right, and then CC, what are you up to?
Just working on my channel, maybe getting some video game time in. I'm playing Expedition 33, quite enjoying it. So, yeah,
awesome. I've been hearing a bit about that game, but I haven't played it. Don't know much about it.
Pretty good.
I know you brought it up, and then I've heard other people talk about it since. So there you go. And then Mo, I know Mondays you hang out with Drunk 3PO, but you do other stuff too, right?
Yeah. My channel that I do with a lot of the people that were in the chat. We got together last year. It's called the GCA. We do Late and Gay with the GCA on Wednesdays. Where we stream, we have guests from all across the spectrum, but we just hang out and have fun. But one thing I'm doing on my channel this week is StreamYard Sucks, a mini series where As you noticed, I had to drop earlier because StreamYard sucks. It changed my input, and I couldn't hear anything. So, I'm gonna pay for reviews. Not pay for reviews. I'm going to pay for products to review them properly, not the free version of competitors to StreamYard. I'm going to review them proper and see if there's something better than StreamYard. And I think we've already found one, but I'm going to go through the most popular candidates, and so that everybody else doesn't have to shell out the money. We're going to kick the tires and see how well it works. But that's been pretty fun. And other than that, pleasure being on, and a pleasure meeting Andre for the first time. Love your guys' work.
Glad to have you here.
Well,
And
yeah.
Gonzalo got to see
That's
Karate
what
Kid
my words.
Legends. Yeah, and he said it's good. I've also heard from another individual who said it's not very good. So I've already heard mixed on this. So I'm kind of like leery on what to think of when I'm going to go see it. What is it? In a week and a half it comes out?
It comes out what, May 31st? No, May 30th.
Oh, is it that?
Yeah, May 30th.
I thought it was sooner than that.
No. The week before is MI and Lilo and Stitch competing.
Oh,
on the
that's right.
same
You're
day.
right. Yeah, I keep flipping them around. Yeah. You're right. May 30th. Yeah. All right. So with that, take care of yourselves and each other. And I want to thank Andre for sitting in with us today. Head on over and check out the new video right after this.